What's up, Graham? It's Guys here. So imagine if you had an extra $5, $10, or even $20 a day deposited into your bank account without you having to do any work whatsoever. What color would your Lambo be? Alright, in all seriousness, someone has tried pretty much every single passive income idea in existence, I'll admit. Most of them are a complete waste of time, they'll take you forever to build, and financially you'd probably be better off just working a minimum wage job instead. But there's also legitimate ways of making passive income that are often overlooked. And even though you're not going to get rich overnight, the good news is that you would be able to get started today with as little as $100. And if you could simply get the basics down, you'd be able to rinse and repeat these exact same strategies to eventually work your way up to $100 a day. So let's talk about everything that you need to know in terms of exactly what to do, where to start, and how to scale. Because everything that I'm talking about is something that I have personally done myself. So please, learn from my mistakes and I'll give you real actionable steps that you could begin today starting with this. Oh, and by the way, all I ask for in return, if you find this video helpful in any capacity, just consider hitting the like button or subscribing for the almighty YouTube algorithm. So thank you guys so much, and also big thank you to public.com for sponsoring this video, but more on that later. Alright, now first it's important to understand that when it comes to passive income, there are two very different types that you could generate for yourself. The first is by investing your money, and the second is by investing your time. I'll break down both options here since I use a combination of each, but before we go into that, we gotta get this out of the way. Even though some people say that passive income's not a real thing, it doesn't exist, it's not possible, I'll be the first to tell you that yes, it is real, it does exist, but it's probably a lot different than what you would expect. The reality is, flat out, you will never get something for nothing, and it's not like there's the option out there to go and set up an automated YouTube channel that makes you $500 a day while you outsource all the work for pennies on the dollar. Instead, realistically, passive income is a way for you to leverage your time and efforts up front in such a way that you'll get paid later on in the future, even when you're not working. Just be prepared to put in the work, learn these strategies, and don't expect money to come pouring into your account overnight. And if that happens, it's probably a scam. And now, of course, with that said, let's begin with the money aspect. If you're looking for the simplest, easiest, no-work approach to making true passive income, as in you literally do nothing besides collect money, then you might want to consider buying into dividends. Now, this certainly isn't going to make you rich overnight, but $100 is going to be enough to lay the groundwork from which you'd be able to build from, and this is how you could do it. Anytime you go and buy a stock, what you're really buying into is a small piece of ownership within the company. Now, that doesn't mean you'll be able to go and walk into the Apple store and claim that you own the place because you got an Apple stock, but buying into a company does entitle you to a portion of their profits, and that's usually in the form of a dividend. Of course, not every stock pays a dividend, but usually when they do, they range anywhere between 1 and 10% depending on the company. Although most of the time you'll find the strongest companies paying anywhere between 1 to 5% every single year, and chances are that is going to be the easiest passive income you're ever going to make in your entire life. The benefit from an investment standpoint is that you'll be able to receive predictable cash flow on a regular basis without having to sell any shares. And this gives you leftover money that you could then use to buy even more investments that will then make you even more money. It's almost like you could buy yourself access to a little tiny money printer where every $100 you invest will get you on average $1 to $5 back every year. On top of that, the Simply Safe Dividends blog pointed out that in 3 of the above recessions, dividends paid to investors actually increased, including a 46% jump during the first recession following World War II. Now, even though such an increase doesn't happen every time, the average dividend cut is just a mere 0.5% compared to the stock market's average decline of 32%. Now, the downside of this, however, is that not all dividend stocks are actually worth buying, even if they are paying you a high amount. Like, consider IBM. Even though they're paying you a 4% dividend, over the last 5 years, their stock price has remained completely flat. Compare that to Apple, which is up 219%, Amazon, which is up 60%, or Facebook, which is, well, okay, maybe not Facebook. That's a bad example. That's why it's important to pick your dividend stocks very wisely and invest in companies because of their strong long-term financials, not just because they pay a high dividend. If you could do this, investing $100 is enough to start building the foundation from which, like I said, you could begin earning a lot more money. Now, second, if you don't want to take the risk picking individual stocks, in which case I don't blame you, you could also take my personal favorite approach with an index fund. This is basically a big basket of stocks that you could could buy into for one low price, and that way you'll own a small piece of everything. For example, if you were to buy each individual stock in the S&P 500, not only would that be a logistical nightmare and take you hours, but it would also cost you around $80,000. So instead, an index fund was created as a way to track the entire market and simplify investing without having to dump everything into Carvana. And index fund investing has outperformed the vast majority of professional investors over a 20-year period. That means that statistically you're going to make more money doing this than any other stock market investment that you could think of. And in terms of passive income, here's how you can make that a reality. First, you'll receive a dividend. In most of these funds, the dividend yield is anywhere between 1 and 3.5% annually, which might not sound like a lot because on $100, you're only going to make about $1 to $3 a year. But you could also combine that with number 2, the stock price increasing. Overall, throughout the last 100 years, the S&P 500 has increased by an average of 7% a year adjusted for inflation with dividends reinvested. So if you just buy and hold into an index fund long term, you can expect to 10x your money over 30 years with this one simple trick that hedge funds hate. And third, this plays into what's called the 4% rule. This was a strategy invented back in 1994 and used as a method of calculation to make sure you never run out of money in retirement. Or basically, if you want to have endless amounts of passive income forever, you would be able to spend 4% of your portfolio every single year for the rest of your life. Just imagine it like every $1 that you have is turned into a worker where its only job is to go and find pennies to bring back into your account. Now initially it might not seem like a lot to put your workers out there to bring back you pennies, but once you have hundreds, thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of little workers out there all bringing you back pennies at the exact same time, working 24/7 even when you're not, it begins to add up. But at the same time, I get it, it's probably not the passive income idea you expected when you clicked on a video like this. So if you wanted a higher return or something that could potentially make you thousands of dollars, consider this. At the end of the day, when it comes to passive income, it's essential that you do your best to save money, invest wisely, and research the markets as much as you can. And thankfully, our sponsor, Public.com, wants to help. Public is the only investing platform that allows you to invest in a wide variety of options, from stocks, ETFs, alternative assets, and more, all in one place without routing your order flow so that you could rest assured your trades are being placed at the best possible price. Public also gives you all the information and tools that you need to make informed investment decisions. They have a premium membership tier where you can unlock advanced data, portfolio management tools, and analyst insights. Like say, for example, that you want to evaluate a company in close detail. You're able to track unique KPIs like how many vehicles a specific model Tesla has delivered this quarter, Netflix's latest subscriber growth, or Apple's revenue breakdown per product line. You can also get access to institutional-grade research from Morningstar and hear the bull and bear cases from expert analysts on the most popular stocks. And it doesn't end there. Public Premium members also have access to extended hours trading, so you could react to after-market hours headlines and news, like how 55% of Americans are behind on saving for retirement. And yeah, I'm looking at you right now. Now is the time to get with it. So when you sign up at public.com/Graham and transfer an account from an existing brokerage, you could get all the way up to $10,000 depending on the transfer amount. And if you transfer $20,000 or more, you get to skip the waitlist and get instant access to Public Premium. Feel free to see the additional terms and conditions of the offer by following the link down below in the description to get started today. And now with that said, let's get back to the video. Alright, so the reality is, unless you buy a winning lottery ticket, go back in time to invest in Dogecoin, or appear in the next Mr. Beast video, $100 by itself is probably not going to amount to much. That's why if you want to make a lot of passive income, the highest yielding investment that you could make is in education. So if you want my recommendations on exactly what you could do to make the most of it, here's what I think. First, for $10, go and buy the book Think and Grow Rich. No joke, I read this book when I was 16 years old and it absolutely changed my life. If you want to become wealthy, this book contains the mental blueprint for achieving whatever you want. And for me, it's been the best investment that I could have possibly made in terms of learning actionable steps that anybody could use to build wealth. Second, take $15 and buy the book The 4-Hour Workweek. This was a book I read right after graduating high school, and it completely changed the way I viewed business, money, and leveraging your skills. Third, take $20 and buy the book on rental property investing by Brandon Turner. I've been fortunate enough to have him on my channel before even realizing that he was the one who wrote the book that I was obsessed with while buying real estate. But regardless of whether or not you want to buy a rental property, the information is invaluable. And since buying a home is the largest financial transaction you're ever going to possibly make, it's worth knowing what you're doing. Next, 4, take $10 and buy the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. Here's the thing, no matter what business you're in, you need to understand how to effectively communicate with another person, understand their point of view, and treat people with respect. This book teaches you how to make win-win conversations for everybody, and I think more people should be exploring this. And fifth, since we've only spent $55 so far, and I don't want this video to go on forever, I would spend another $7 on Rich Dad Poor Dad, $20 on the Millionaire Fast Lane, $17 on Die With Zero, and the remaining on Your Money or Your Life. I know we're slightly over $100 now, but if you actually go and buy these books and then actually go and read them over the course of a year, I guarantee you'll have more business acumen than 99.9999% of people on the planet. And because of that, it's practically guaranteed that you will make more money as a result. And fourth, you could also take a more practical approach, and even though it's not a lot, you could use $100 towards starting a business. Now yes, I know this is quite literally the opposite of passive income, because starting a business could be one of the most difficult mental challenges you will ever encounter in your entire life, while you make absolutely no money until you get it off the ground. But you'll learn a lot, and once you begin earning a consistent amount, you'll be able to outsource the day-to-day activities. For example, I know plenty of social media businesses that were started for nothing out of pocket. They just found a common problem that creators were facing, provided a solution, and then worked for free until they proved themselves. Like right now, there's a huge opportunity to take long-form content like this and then chop it up into TikToks, Reels, and Shorts. I'll tell you, most creators are not doing this. Most people have no idea this is even an opportunity. The business itself is going to cost you pretty much nothing to start up besides your time. And once you begin to understand how this works, you could outsource almost everything. Feel free to take this idea, by the way, and run with it, because some of you are going to make a lot of money doing this, and that isn't the only option. Plenty of other businesses could also be started with no money out of pocket, like creating thumbnails for YouTube videos, taking a video outline and turning it into a newsletter, connecting brands with channels here on YouTube, or taking a free coding class to build a landing page. On top of that, I know it's now the most cliche thing ever to say, but you could also take $100 and start your own YouTube channel. I know this is one of the biggest, easier said than done tactics to make money, but the reality is, if you enjoy talking to the camera alone in a room and it's Saturday at I guess it's almost 7 p.m. then hey, if that's your idea of a fun Saturday night, then be my guest and save me. Anyway, if you find it if you stick with it and you don't mind mispronouncing words all the time and having to refilm everything from the very beginning, then YouTube could be fantastic. For example, when I started creating YouTube videos, I filmed everything on my iPhone that I already had. I edited for free using iMovie on my computer that I learned to edit on for free by watching YouTube videos, and I talked about my experience in real estate. Honestly, I just had so much fun making videos every single night. It was the only thing that I looked forward to doing, and it eventually blossomed into what it is today. Of course, the downside is that you're reliant on the YouTube algorithm. You have to constantly post videos if you want the algorithm to show your videos, and it's consuming of your entire life. But there's also an element to it where even the older videos that I made years ago are still bringing in sometimes pennies, dollars, or even tens of dollars every single day, even though it's been years since I've made that video. Think of it as something that's very time consuming and unprofitable up front, but long term it could pay off way more than you initially put in if you just stick with it long term. Finally, if you could use the above suggestions to turn that $100 into $500, you could look into what's called credit card churning. The thing is, even though it's not entirely passive, it's fairly easy and you could grow your money way faster than investing it with a nearly guaranteed return. In fact, I used to do this all the time, and there's always options out there to take advantage of, so here's how it works. Both credit cards and banks will give you a bonus for opening up an account and meeting minimum requirements. Usually the bonus is anywhere between $50 and $200, and it typically takes anywhere between 15 and 25 minutes worth of work. Plus, websites like NerdWallet and The Points Guy list options on a weekly basis, so your choices are almost infinite. For example, the Capital One Saver card has a $0 annual fee and gives you a $200 bonus when you spend $500 in the first 3 months. Just right there, as long as you follow the requirements, you could get a 40% return on your money in less than 100 days. However, the trick to doing this is that you must not spend any additional money that you wouldn't have spent anyways, otherwise you're just wasting money. But assuming that you would ordinarily be spending $500 within 3 months on gas, utilities, food, insurance, and everything else involved, then it's an easy way to make an extra $200. So overall, in the big picture, starting off with $100 is not a lot, and it's not like you're going to be making money hand over fist beginning tomorrow. But it is enough to set up a good foundation from which you could build on to eventually make a lot more money. Even for myself, I started off with a Roth IRA buying index funds. I then saved for years until I could buy my first rental property. property, I continued buying even more index funds and then saving even more money to buy another rental property, and then started a YouTube channel for fun that eventually turned into a side hobby. And I continued doing that until 14 years later, where all of those passive income sources are able to cover all of my expenses day to day. Just take it one step at a time, use what you have currently available, and think outside of the box. I really believe that if you actually read those books and then started up a creator assistance business, you would be able to turn $100 into potentially $5,000 a month. Yes, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of work up front, but it's also going to be 100% worth it. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, feel free to add me on Instagram, and don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed or hit the like button, it would mean the world to me. Thank you so much, and until next time.